Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Nick Cage Fight Podcast, where we're here to finish our review of the Cotton Club, where we're transported back to the late 1920s, early 1930s, where people dressed fancy, listened to smooth jazz, and were incredibly racist. I'm one of your hosts, Josh, joined as always by Rich and Ryan. How are we doing?
I am not racist.
There you go.
Well, it's actually
stance.
funny. Smooth jazz is actually the whitewashing of jazz.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, fuck you, Kenny G.
Yeah, fuck smooth jazz and its 4/4 time signature forever.
Yeah, no, it's all about hard bop. If you're into jazz, you know that's the good shit.
I'm waiting for one of our stupid throwaway jokes to just kick a beehive of extremely niche weirdos online. It would be funny if it was the smooth jazz guys who just like came out and tanked our fucking iTunes rating or whatever.
Any engagement is good engagement.
What, all the fucking 78-year-old white men?
Guys who wear fedoras.
It's a bad look. Don't do that. Please, people, stop doing that.
Wearing fedoras or listening to smooth jazz?
Both.
They're both pretty bad. Yeah.
Rich and I in stereo on that one. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, give it a fucking break. If you guys stop, if a bunch of weirdos stopped wearing fedoras, they might come back in. It's not necessarily bad as an accessory. It is just got bad connotations.
You gotta have the safari flap on the back, though.
There you fucking go. That's a man with wearing just a fedora is likely to end up being your stalker. A man with a fedora with safari flaps, though, is likely just to try
have dice in his pocket.
Stop fucking with him.
As the editor, I've noticed we've got a lot of I think you should leave references consistently per episode.
As we should.
Yeah, why wouldn't we? Listen, you should be able to watch a little bit of porn.
Just a little.
What is this? I don't know. I've never gotten here before.
I've never gotten this far before. What the heck?
That's the egg bit, right?
Yes.
You know that fucking that's a working game that was created by the guy who he's like a web comic artist who did Mrs. Boop, the comic book about him being married to Betty Boop.
Wait, hold on.
Wait,
I'm
I've
just
heard
Googling
of that.
egg game
It's
and see what happens.
Incredibly I don't think he released it. I think it's like partially finished. Like he's planning on actually making it a working game.
It looks infuriating. The whole joke is that it's a not working game.
Yeah.
I fed him like 50 eggs. It says 3 eggs.
I mean, shout out to Alec Robbins, who has consistently drawn himself fucking Bugs Bunny in that Mrs. Boop comic. And Goku.
Oh my God.
I love Mrs. Boop. You should read Mrs. Boop.
It's honestly
or
truly
Mr. Boop is the name of the comic. I had that backwards.
It's truly a shame we're coming to the end of the functional internet. We're gonna tell stories of when the internet worked and was decent.
By the way, egggame.org.
Oh shit, really?
I'm
not gonna get through this episode.
No, I think this is gonna be like a 3-parter.
I'm already feeding it eggs. There's no egg counter though. It's just dragging the egg into its mouth.
Oh shit. It is there.
No, wait a minute. Dude, you just ran out of eggs by the 80 pack of eggs. Yes. Eggs 80. Eggs 40.
Okay, this is actually linked to his fucking website too. That rules.
19 eggs.
Well, I'm talking about Alec Robbins. If you're into slightly smutty sci-fi, his crime hot comics are very fucking funny.
This is horrifying. Thanks, Rich. I fucking hate it.
I love it.
No, I'm still feeding him eggs.
All right, I'm gonna get back to talking about the plot of this film, The Cotton Club.
I'm gonna keep feeding him eggs,
which has no eggs in it. Not a single egg to be found in this film. Jesus Christ. So I said last time, and I'm holding myself to it, we're gonna pick up with Sandman's romantic encounter. He's trying to woo the dancer Lila. he tries hitting on her backstage, but the stage manager remains racist and firmly up his ass. And then he runs into her at lunch, and I can't tell if like they're just having lunch at the club when the club is not active, or if they're at an actual place. But he does a song and dance routine for her, which actually does seem to charm her a bit. And then he says we should get married right now, and he takes her to another location where he goes up to a guy who I'm assuming is a licensed officiant of some sort, and asks him to marry them on the spot. The guy says no. Also, she's not allowed to be in here. And she's like, why? And he's like, this is a Hoofers club. And her, like me, was just like, what is that? And they explain it demonstrably by having a whole fucking dance routine. Fucking Rich making faces while you're trying to feed an egg. Did he show you the bush or butthole yet? Is that what happened?
No, it's
incredibly
21 eggs left. Okay, I'm done. I'm done playing egg game. I promise.
Okay,
Firmly off the rails.
This isn't.
Sir.
I think you should leave podcast now.
Sorry. I'm done with the egg game.
God damn it. We'll have to get to the I think you should leave podcast after we do all of our spin-off podcasts with Mickey Rourke and Willem Dafoe. And I want to throw Tom Waits on the list.
Tom Waits would be cool. He was Renfield in the Francis Ford Coppola Dracula. We could keep it on the Coppola train.
There you go. We'll call it Waits and See.
So I've been
That's
trying to
such a
figure
good
out
name.
That is such a good name. I had a special request from one of our listeners that we got to do one about a Kevin Costner, but I couldn't think of a fucking pun name for it.
Oh.
That way I can talk about Westworld or Waterworld for like 5 hours.
Yeah, I don't think there's a Westworld connection.
No, there's not a Westworld. There's a Waterworld connection.
Dances with podcasts? I don't know.
we could do a movie about all the worlds. We could do a War of the Worlds podcast. Waterworld, Westworld.
World of Warcraft, which I've never seen.
It's
Ben
so
Foster's
bad.
It is bad.
Oh.
But I love Ben Foster. The only reason why I fired it up is because I saw Ben Foster was in it.
All right, look, I closed the egg game. We're going to talk about this movie.
All right. Fucking great. So we were at the Hoofer Club, and the old guy demonstrates what the Hoofer Club is, and it appears to just be a club for dudes who fucking love the shit out of some tap dancing.
Dudes, it's a dude's rock club. Yeah,
it's 100% the explanation when she's like, "What does that mean?" And they do a full tap dance routine, but also Bumpy, Lawrence Fishburne's character, hangs out there. I don't know what this club is. I just know they practice choreographed dance, and it is amazing.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's a great scene, and it's also very impressive. They got like 15 dudes all doing what at least translates on screen as like extemporaneous routines together.
Yeah, they hired a
neat.
ton of dancers for this movie.
Apparently, Hoofer's Club is just the name of the club, not a type of club. That was a real place in Harlem.
Oh, what the fuck? Now I'm even more confused.
Yeah, it was an African-American entertainment establishment and dancers club hangout in Harlem, New York that ran from the early 1920s to the early 1940s.
Huh. Well, they were period appropriate for it, but the guy says the name of it like it's descriptive in some fashion.
It was actually a small room in the back of a comedy club, strangely enough.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So from here, we cut to Dutch, who is at lunch, and asks Dixie to play a specific song for him. Vera is there as Dutch's date, and Dixie and Vera exchange some barbs about both of their relationships with Dutch. Meanwhile, Dutch's numbers guy, whose name is fucking Abadabba.
God, I love that name.
Cartoon ass fucking name.
Fucking Flintstones ass name.
I know.
Yeah. A real dude and another dude who died in the 30s.
His name was Abadabba.
His that was his nickname. His name was Otto Berman.
Yeah.
And he was actually
Where did the
accountant.
nickname come from?
I don't know, but he was an accountant. He is also known for having coined the phrase "nothing personal, it's just business."
Oh,
Ah,
shit.
okay.
That's a fun fact. I dig the shit out of that.
Which makes sense that like a Jewish accountant made up that term.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, and for like a mob outfit.
Also, yeah, that's the way it's been used for the most part. I do want to do an aside here. This is not where the line is said, but I found it funny, and I know I didn't quote it in my notes. But the whole Abba being a nickname thing, there is a scene where Frenchie and Oni are discussing. I think it's Dixie, and Frenchie goes, "I don't trust anybody with a nickname." And Oni's like, "What about your nickname, Frenchie?" And he's like, "That's different." He's like, "How is it different?" He's like, "I'm trustworthy."
God, I love Frenchie.
It's a
Frenchie is very
beautiful
good.
line.
Frenchie is the realest one.
He is. He is. So anyway, Abba Dabba is explaining how they can rig the numbers racket. And if they rig the numbers racket appropriately, they think they can essentially bankrupt the racket and thus take it over. And thanks to Rich's primer in the beginning of last episode, I now understand how this fucking scheme works, because at the time I was like, this seems absurd. But because it was based on betting amounts on horses placing, if they had a big enough bankroll and could affect the payout, they could place a bunch of last minute bets and then also place a bunch of last minute numbers and statistically increase their odds to the point of certainty of hitting the number. Yeah, at the time it seems like a bit of a pipe dream. I was dubious of it when I heard the plan in the first place, but it does end up playing out for him, so it makes sense. During this luncheon, while Dutch and his crew are going over this new scheme, Dixie and Vera get into a heated enough argument that Dixie ends up dumping a drink in Vera's lap and then gets yelled at by Dutch, who actually threatens him, tells him to knock that shit off because he's fucking crazy and dangerous. So
yeah, he kind of had to be.
Yeah.
The only one that wasn't was like I'm blanking on his name, the guy who fixed the 1919 World Series, and he died super young because he wasn't crazy.
Rothstein?
Yes, Arnold Rothstein. Yes.
So anyway, another evening, Dixie is escorting Vera around town because Dutch has essentially canceled, I guess, on their date. He takes her to a club, and this is where I think this is the first time we get the name of the golem who is following them. The fact that they're being followed and watched by one of Dutch's goons annoys Dixie, takes Vera out onto the dance floor, and is very aggressive with her. I mean, like, she even falls down at one point and has a breakdown, and I think like slaps him or something, which causes him to back off. Now, I read this and I'm interested in your guys' opinion of it. I think obviously Dixie doesn't like Vera's association with Dutch. Vera is trying to leverage that to accomplish her dreams, primarily of owning a club. But I think this whole thing specifically is Dixie embarrassing Vera, who thinks she is like an in vogue socialite. And Dixie is a really worldly character, so he has practical knowledge of this stuff outside of their specific geographic setting. And he's setting out to kind of humble her, but
that's
I
how
might
I
be
took
reading
it.
that wrong.
That is how I took it.
Like, oh, you can't even do this dance, you can't keep up with this, you think you know all of this shit, and you're basically trading your safety in order to try and accomplish this, and you don't even take it seriously enough to know about this, that, and the other.
I think it was more or less he just wanted to make himself feel better by being able to call her trash, because he wasn't really taking her through steps she didn't know. She clearly knew the steps. He was just being an asshole about it and like not catching her. And
I think it was that too. I think it might have been a combination of him losing his temper and having some type of point, I guess. I don't know.
I kind of took it as he was just being a real asshole about things.
He was absolutely being an asshole about things. But when she does finally snap, he apologizes. He takes her home to his house, well, his mother's house, and they sleep together. And in the aftermath, they talk with Dixie primarily going on about how he has to get out from under Dutch's thumb. He's a gopher. He's being threatened. He fucking hates this shit. At this point, we go back to the Cotton Club, and Lila does an amazing singing performance, and Sandman requests and secures a solo act. But this causes a bit of conflict with his brother.
His brother is pissed.
Super pissed to the point of, oh, you want to be solo? You're solo. On stage and off, I'm out. Fuck you, basically. And I get it. I get both sides of it. It's unfortunate. It's one of the very humanizing things about Sandman's story arc to me. It was a bummer to see them clash like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Dixie goes to see Oni about his issue with Dutch, and Oni offers to send him out to the coast to be the face of one of his movie endeavors. Oni is he makes money moves, baby. You know, he's doing club shows. He has interests in Hollywood. He's got a lot of moving parts, and he thinks Dixie would be good as an actor. And he will also keep Dutch off of his back if Dixie wants to take him up on this. So later on, Dixie is back with Dutch, and he's giving him some advice on a new suit that he's purchasing. And this is also where Dutch learns that Dixie did a screen test for a film, and Dixie kind of cattily indicates that Oni set up the whole thing, and Dutch is silently furious about this. Give it to Remar on this one.
Remar, yep.
I'm going to continue to fuck that up, but
Rammer.
He does furious without saying lines really well. To be fair, that is Dutch's only real response to anybody saying anything to him.
Yeah, he's just an angry man.
Yeah. But anyway, he's pissed. But Dutch does pull his number scam, and it works. Madame St. Clair is doing like the math after the numbers hit and realizes basically they're underwater on the payout, which is not good. The way this shakes out, though, is kind of hilarious to me because they're like, none of us can make our payments. And then Vincent, Dixie's brother, shows up with a Tommy gun and a bunch of other like tough guys. They drag guys out and beat them, steal the cash off of them. Vincent just shoots his Tommy gun into a wall for no reason. And this is where they take over the Harlem numbers racket. But you know what might potentially take over your life? Maybe something from these ads that you're about to hear. Who knows?
I'd say the sweet, sweet nectar of capitalism.
Yeah, if we had sponsored ads at this point, I would say a sleep number bed or the purple bed or whatever fucking beds they're selling these days.
The fucking nectar, the purple. They're all shit. Don't buy a bed in a box. You want your back to hurt? Buy one of those shits.
Sleep on the ground like your ancestors. I can't believe that last ad was just for a patch of dirt, which is supposed to be the new ergonomic bed. That's absurd. I was making a joke, but apparently it's a real thing.
Yeah, it's called taking a dirt nap.
Hell yeah.
So this is interesting for a couple of reasons. One, it pulls in an actual crazy badass historical figure in the form of Madame St. Clair. It does also sort of inform us that Vincent has been rising in responsibility in direct correlation to his capacity for violence within Dutch's organization, which is kind of important.
Yeah, and by the way, we have hit the Nick Cage section of the movie.
Yeah. Which his accent's weird in this because he keeps going in and out of like a weird kind of nasally and just straight gangster voice.
I mean, look, this was like his 7th movie. He's still figuring it out at this point.
I will quibble a little bit that this is the Nick Cage portion of the movie because we do get more of him in the next couple of scenes than we have in the past, but they have been setting up this character as a fuck up from jump.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, his introduction.
But it's all small scenes. It's all something we haven't really talked about. It's like kind of background things going on.
Yeah, which is why I'm going to take a moment to address him. After all, this is a Nick Cage fight centric podcast. But upon his introduction to the viewer, he is bugging Dixie about, getting him a job with Dutch, who Dixie sort of brushes him off, but it happens anyway. Then we see a sort of flippant attitude towards marriage in general. Justin was like, "Oh, I got married. This is my wife." And then we get him being antagonistic and at least a little bit racist when they're at the Cotton Club together as a family, throwing pennies at the performers on stage with a big bag of pennies. I can't believe I didn't mention this.
Yes.
He has a whole fucking paper bag, like a giant paper bag, and he's just whipping coins at people on stage.
Like he should have drawn a dollar sign on it.
It's so fucking weird. It's a strange thing. And then this is
now I'm going to go back to the inflation calculator, see what 1 penny was worth in 1927. See how much money he just gave away.
He was technically making it hail, man. Like that wasn't a. But at this point, we get. I think it's the first time it happens in this film, and they go back to this well a couple of times afterwards, where we get intercut scenes with like semi-transparent like newspaper clippings and shit like that, right? To let us know stuff is happening, but we don't want to give you like complete scenes of it. And it's essentially the fallout of Dutch taking over the Harlem numbers racket. A lot of violence, gang fighting, stacks of money, so on and so forth.
1 penny is worth 18 cents today.
Well, that's not that much.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
that
5 pennies
off.
is $1. That's literally 18,000%. If you think about it.
Wait, it's just 18 times.
Which is 18,000%. It's an 18,000% increase. That's how math works, right?
1800.
1800, that's what I meant to say. 1800. I'm bad at both numbers and words.
Yeah, but like you could buy something for a penny back then. That still seems weird to me that it's only 18 cents now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the things you could buy with a penny back then was like loose unwrapped candy.
Yeah, or like a single cigarette.
Or a bag of peanuts.
Yeah, but like a Lucy cigarette's $1 now.
Well, yeah, but like 70% of that is taxes.
Oh, yeah.
A cigarette does not take a lot of money to produce.
Also, be careful out there if you're selling Lucy's. Does not tend to work out well.
Yeah.
So back to Sandman and his story. Him and his brother actually are fighting at family dinner about the solo act. And I kind of love the family dynamic there because like it's an incredibly supportive family when we see them. Like you guys mentioned, the giving the sister tips on her dance routine. And then when they're having like this argument over dinner, everybody's like, dude, don't do this at the dinner table. The food's getting cold. The fuck are you doing? Just eat. This is family time. Knock it off. But then back at the Cotton Club, Sandman is trying to take Lila up to the roof. But of course, the stage manager, right when they get to the door to the rooftop, he steps inside and freaks out on Sandman, pulling him into the kitchens and threatening him with a cleaver. This upsets Lila. She's talking about quitting and leaving the club and going somewhere else. And Sandman goes back to the Hoofers Club and talks about his intention and desire to kill the stage manager. And this is where we get Bumpy, who's
I do want to say, like, to say that he threatened him is a little bit light, because to me, threatening is like grabbing a cleaver and being like, don't go near her again. Now, this motherfucker like throws him on the butcher's block and starts chopping vegetables very near to his face.
Yes, correct.
Like, it is a violent threatening. It is not somebody pulling a knife on you saying, I'm going to stab you, and then walking away. It is.
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah. I just didn't want to brush past that because, like, it was a bit of an intense scene.
Yeah, absolutely. But Bumpy actually manages to talk down Sandman on this. And I thought the speech was really good. I didn't write down specific quotes from it because it was too long to explicitly go into. But basically,
And Lawrence Fishburne was too hot. I was busy staring at him.
correct. But basically Bumpy says, look, you can't kill him. That's not what you do. The way you beat him is by doing what you're good at. I could fucking kill him, but you couldn't kill him. And the way he does it is very convincing. He actually talks Sandman around entirely. And Sandman settles on the I'm going to get so good at my career path that it's going to beat him, basically. And then we get another flash of scenes with the newspaper clippings and so on and so forth covering the stock crash in 1929. And then we fade down to Broadway in 1930 on an establishment named Vera's Club.
Good for her.
Exactly. Well, not quite.
Yeah, I know.
But Dixie walks in with Oni, and Dutch is there as well, and he's pissed that Oni showed up. It turns out Dutch's wife invited Oni, which is, I thought, kind of funny. Sandman also shows up at Vera's Club, but isn't allowed in on account of racism. But he does convince the doorman to get a note up to a performer. Vincent shows up to the club as well and is looking to talk to Dutch. This is a bit of a chaotic scene because we have all of our characters and storylines clashing together again, so please bear with me. We'll start with Vincent. Vincent wants to talk to Dutch. He is unhappy with his compensation in the organization. The Golem basically treats him like the hired help to a certain extent, makes him wait in the hallway. Dutch comes out, and Vincent gives his demands. He wants a cut of the numbers racket, a percentage, not a flat rate.
Didn't
And
he
Dutch
say
is-
half, if I remember?
I can't remember. I don't think it was that crazy. It was some percentage of the numbers racket.
Okay.
And Dutch is like, you're out of your fucking mind if you think I'm giving you percentage cuts of anything. I'll bump you up by 100 a week, and I'll bump your main goon up by 50 a week. And Vincent tells him to go shove it up his ass, which is a bold move when your boss is a mobster. I support it in every other sense, but in most cases, telling your boss to shove it up their ass is not going to result in some type of murder scenario.
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
Nah, it'll just be homelessness and destitution.
Correct. It's yeah. But it is still a little different.
Yeah.
Lila obviously was the performer in Vera's Club that the Sandman was wanting to talk
Mr.
to.
Sandman.
Yeah.
Yes, the professional wrestler from the 90s.
But she does go out to talk to them, talk to Sandman, and they agree to meet when she's done her shift at the club. Dutch walks back in after his interaction with Vincent to see Vera singing while Dixie is playing his cornet. This, of course, pisses off Dutch and entertains Oni. Back to Sandman and Lila, they try and get a room at a hotel, but the concierge says, I too am also racist, like everybody in this film, and we don't rent rooms to mixed couples. And Lila has to explain that one of her parents is white and one is black. So they're not technically a mixed couple because you don't get points for that back then. And so the concierge is like, oh, in that case, that's fine. Here's your room key.
And then my favorite line happens. He hits the bell and they're like, nope, no luggage.
Yeah. So at this point, we cut to the Golem, who goes and corners Vincent's like hang around kid, a childhood friend who's been working on Dutch's crew with him, and shoots him dead.
In such a weird way. He comes up to him and he's just like, hey, shake on it. And he's like, what do you mean shake on it? Shake on it. And he questions him again. He's like, I said shake on it, then shoots him.
Yeah. He's like, handshake, and the kid's like, what? No. Then he's like, gunshot.
Yeah. It's the weirdest way to shoot somebody.
Yeah. I think maybe there was another cut scene that established something that would make that make sense, but I don't know.
Well, I thought he was trying to make it so like the Golem was like, oh no, Dutch thought about it some more and he's gonna agree to your terms, shake on it.
Okay, yeah, that would make sense.
I think that was how it was sold. But yeah, this doesn't go over well with Vincent. So Vincent sets up a retaliatory hit against the Golem. Vincent is acting as the lookout, and he has some of his boys. Credit to Vincent for this. Vincent built up a loyal following in his time in the gang. He has a fair amount of muscle on his side. But he's acting as lookout, and he has his squad of goons in a car, and he is watching the golem leave his house, give some direction to his underlings, and continue on. Vincent is interrupted in his reconnaissance by children selling apples on the street. And so Vincent gives them some money, takes an apple, and shoos them on their way. The golem walks down the street, car pulls up, they open fire, killing the golem, but also shooting down the apple selling children, at least one of them.
Which is actually what the real guy is kind of known for. He's known was known for botching a hit that killed like 2 kids.
I mean, the newspapers that spin onto screen after this just straight up call him the baby killer Mick.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think he had a nickname for this.
Was it the baby killer Mick?
No, but apparently when the inspector referred to Cole as a baby killer, he replied, "I'm no baby killer."
That kid was technically 12.
He was a toddler. A toddler killer.
The ephebophilia of child murder.
They called him Mad Dog after this.
Yes.
Okay.
They do mention that in the film.
Like what?
Yeah, you got to plan your hits better. To call out another fantastic podcast, All Lawyers Are Bastards, A-Lab, did an episode where they covered a German Marxist assassination of a head banker with a very, very cleverly designed bicycle bomb parked along the side of the road.
Wait, was a pipe bomb?
There was a literal bike bomb.
Shit, that rules. I wonder if that's what this bike is not a pipe bomb is named after.
It might be, and if you're not familiar with the story, I highly recommend you check it out. Because
I do know this story.
I do. Yeah, they had like this guy knew people were after him, and these guys like put a bike, just a regular old bike, parked on the street on one of this guy's routes, and they left it there for weeks. Like a security team looked it over, and they're like, "All right, it's fine. Somebody just abandoned a bike here." And then weeks later, they put a bomb on it that was set to trigger when this guy's car went by, and it chopped off his legs, and he bled to death.
Oh,
and
shit.
as far as I'm aware,
Yep.
he was the only casualty. So yeah, you got to plan this shit.
That's efficient murder.
That is
Yes,
that is a great bomb.
Correct. Anyway, so this sets a chain of events in motion in which results in Vincent sticking up Frenchie and basically kidnapping him. So that's Oni's right-hand man. He puts him in the car and says he needs some walking around money. And you know what you can use walking around money on? Impulse purchases. Maybe you hear an advertisement on your favorite podcast of all time, and you're like, I want that thing.
Maybe you're at the fucking payment line at the supermarket and you see the biggest possible Reese's. Maybe you buy that.
There you go. Anyway,
maybe I do that every time I go to buy groceries.
Oh, what great advertisements. We sure have the best advertisers.
Truly.
Truly the best. Use all of them. Go to BYU, take a vacation in Lancaster, listen to the Joe Rogan Experience.
Joe Rogan is not advertising on our shit. His ads are probably much more targeted.
Yeah, probably. It's only, if you listen to the Daily Wires podcast.
There you go. So at this point, Dixie gets picked up by Oni, who informs him that Vincent snatched up Frenchie, and he has demanded a $50,000 ransom and only trusts Dixie to deliver it.
Smart.
It is smart, but also puts Dixie in a position of suspicion. This is not good for Dixie and his mob ties, but it looks like Oni trusts him, gives him the package, sends him to deliver it. And so Dixie walks up. Vincent's basically holed up in a hotel room, and he's got like a bunch of guns on the bed and a bunch of enforcers and shit. And they have a conversation about what Vincent did, basically. And so Vincent is doing his best to abdicate responsibility for the death of the child. He wasn't even in the car. Don't you get it? You know what I mean? And, does everybody hate him, including their mom? It's poignant, and Dixie is critical, but before Dixie leaves with Frenchie, he does show his loyalty to his family by whispering to his brother to get out of there as quickly as he can. So Frenchie has been secured, and we get to one of our favorite scenes that we alluded to in the first episode. So Frenchie and Oni are reunited, and Oni is curious how Frenchie was treated. How is he? What's going on? And Frenchie spins a bit of bullshit as his lead-in to say he heard that Oni only offered $50 for him in ransom. And Oni is insulted by this and claims that he offered 50,000. Now, to be perfectly clear, when Frenchie first does this, he contrives a reason to take Oni's pocket watch.
Oh, so what he essentially says is he's like, oh, they treated me real well, gave me dinner and all of this. I don't even know how long I was out. I don't have my watch. Can I see yours? So he grabs his watch and accidentally drops it, and then grabs it again and says, oh, I think I may have broken it. Let me grab it because I think I can just fix it real quick. And he puts it down on the table and takes a statue that's on the table and just smashes the shit out of it.
Yeah, it's very funny.
Yeah, when confronting him about the $50 thing.
Yeah, and then he starts flipping out about the $50.
Yeah. And then Oni was like, I paid 50 grand. I would have paid 500 grand. What are you talking about? And Frenchie's like, oh, okay. No, I'm sorry. Here, take this. And gives him like a wrapped box. And Oni opens it up, and it's a platinum pocket watch. So Frenchie is smooth, clever, funny, and terrifying. Definite MVP of the film, in my opinion.
Not enough screen time. Definitely my favorite character. Correct. Except for maybe Dixie Dwyer's mom.
So after this, the Oni's gangsters finally catch up with Vincent, and he goes to make a call in a phone booth, and gangsters grab his wife, put a hand over her mouth to keep her from screaming, and then just Tommy gun him to death in the phone booth. Pretty brutal.
Yeah, so, and that's how he went out in real life too. Apparently, this is even funnier. When he was on the phone in real life, he was on the phone with Dutch Schultz, essentially threatening to be like, you need to pay me $50,000 or I'm going to kidnap your brother-in-law. Didn't even kidnap his brother-in-law. Just asking for money, or this is what he will do. It was a pre-ransom.
Pre-ransom? That's bold. The man was an innovator.
Apparently, somehow, Dutch traced the call. I don't know if maybe he heard something in the background. Don't know how tracing worked in the 20s or 30s. But he found out where he was, sent 2 guys over there, and shot him dead.
See, in the movie, it's implied that Vincent was calling Oni. Because after he gets shot dead, Oni puts down the phone. He's like, take that, motherfucker, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Wait, was it Oni? Hold on. I had thought it was. Oh my God. Yeah, he was talking to Oni in real life. I thought it was Schultz. He was talking to Oni and demanding 50,000 from him.
Or kidnap somebody else Oni cared about.
Yeah. How did he think this was gonna play?
That's really funny. So back
but Dutch Schultz did send a wreath to his funeral that just said "From the boys."
Oh shit! That's pretty solid.
That's good.
What a fucking badass thing to do. Sorry, continue.
No, that's all right. We check in on Sandman, who we learn a little bit later, but that's the context that gives this scene its import. Sandman has become very successful as an entertainer. And he goes into a club and sees his brother performing on stage. When his brother notices him in the crowd, this stops him dead. He introduces Sandman to the room, and Bumpy suggests the brothers dance a number together. And they do, and it's great. It's, again, another one of these performances that is incredibly well shot. They embrace at the end, and Sandman apologizes to his brother. And then we get another fast forward. Now we're up to 1931, and there's a show at the Cotton Club. Dutch is there popping bottles, quite literally. Dixie walks in and gets mobbed for autographs. Again, forgive my pun. His role in, quote, mob boss was incredibly successful, so he's a known commodity at this point. And Oni introduces Dixie to a friend of his, Charlie Luciano. Bumpy arrives at the Cotton Club as well, and it looks like they've started finally admitting black folk to the offstage seating areas at this point in time, which Bumpy makes an explicit comment about.
Yeah.
Sandman is the next up to perform with his own act with backup dancers and everything. Dixie spots Dutch, who has Vera with him, and Luciano and Oni discuss the problem of Dutch and hit like basically a prosecutor's like coming down on the area because Dutch is such a fucking wild card, and they got to deal with it because it's hitting everybody in the pockets basically. So they talk about taking out the Dutchman and splitting up the action in Harlem with the members of the family. Bumpy is trying to flirt with one of the dancers at the club. He even goes behind stage to talk to her. And the manager that always used to torture Sandman tries to start his shit with Bumpy. And that is a bad idea because Bumpy and his men fucking wrangle this dude, pull him into the bathroom, and shove his head into the toilet. And I did make note of this in my my research notes for the film. We had 2 movies in a row with literal heads in toilet scenes.
Two swirlies.
2 swirlies in a row.
Although in this one, he does yell at him, "Have a drink on me, motherfucker," which is very good.
It is a good one.
And yeah, if Bumpy is based on the what guy that I found, Bumpy in real life, this is a man not to be fucked with. This is a man with a high body count.
So at this point, Dutch's wife shows up and catches Dutch with Vera, and he freaks out on him and her both. Dixie sort of spirits Vera away. There's a funny scene where Vera's like, "I'll rip her nipples off," which I thought was a fun threat. But they go backstage, and hide between a set of curtains and make out a bit. Tom Waits shows up and informs Dixie that he's going to be on stage in 2 minutes and that Dutch is looking for Vera. They embrace again, and then Tom Waits introduces Dixie on stage to play, and he starts up with the band while Vera watches from the table. Dutch comes over at this point and starts giving Vera a hard time, and she's back talking him a bit. And Dutch asks what she was doing backstage with Dixie, and she's like, "Oh, I was kissing him." And he's like, "Did you ever sleep with him?" And Vera's like, "Every chance I got." This, of course, causes a bit of this scene.
So, I don't get how Diane Lane was nominated for a Razzie for this movie. I thought she was pretty damn good.
The fuck?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
That is bullshit. I thought she was pretty damn good in this.
Yeah, no, she did a fine job. That's nonsense. Also, what are the Razzies doing fucking nominating somebody from 1984? Have they been around that long?
Yeah, the Razzies have been around for a minute.
Since the 70s, I believe.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that was dumb on their part. Real miss. I agree with their opinion on Catwoman. Anyway, so
1980 to present, by the way.
Okay, yeah, I was just about to get there.
Interesting. So Dutch blows up on Vera. Dixie hops off stage to intervene. There is a scene, and Dutch is essentially kicked out of the club. On his way out of the club, he pulls a gun to shoot at Dixie. Now, at this point, the next act had started, and it included Sandman again. And Sandman does a sweet swing kick move to kick the gun out of Dutch's hand. It crashes through a window and lands on the street in front of the doorman. I thought that was a nice touch. Dutch is dragged outside, getting roughed up on the way. And after he's pulled out, Luciano makes a call from inside the club and says a bunch of stuff in Italian that sounds ominous. So, I'm assuming he's making good on his intentions when it comes to the Dutchman problem. So as Dutch and his goons are driving away from the club, Dutch is fantasizing out loud about getting his revenge on Dixie. Meanwhile, Sandman is doing a very complicated routine on stage at the Cotton Club. Dutch ends up at a restaurant, still ranting and raving. and Luciano, Oni, Frenchie, and some old Italian dudes share some wine. At this point, two men enter the restaurant that Dutch is at. And the bartender, I thought this was a hilarious scene. Like these two guys walk in, the bartender looks over at them and then just ducks behind the bar.
Yeah, that's real good.
And this goes about how you would expect. Dutch has gone to the bathroom. One of the men walks up to the table of his goons and shoots all of them several times. The other hitman, who is the one played by the gentleman who played Hector Salamanca in Breaking Bad,
Mark Margolis.
Margolis, goes in the bathroom and shoots Dutch several times. Then he comes out and Tommy guns the dead bodies of his goons just for extra measure.
Because it's cool.
It
looks cool.
It's very cool.
And one of those henchmen was Abacadabra or Abadabba.
Yeah, Abacadabra is better. I like that.
Well, that's because it's with the money. Now you see it. Now you don't.
I thought Oni mentioned Abba being dead or out of Dutch's crew prior to this, though.
Oh, well, they were kind of nameless henchmen. I couldn't remember who was there, but in real life, he was one of the ones slaughtered.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because, Lucky Luciano, famously bad at being a gangster. He wasn't. He was very good at it.
He was.
This motherfucker caught a deal during World War II to have his prison moved to New York so that he could help find Nazi infiltrators, and then just dipped as soon as he could.
Fuck yeah, that rules.
It was so good. He was like, yeah, I'll help you catch Nazis. And then he immediately ran to Cuba and then to Italy. And lived a long life.
The mob was used to help guard ports during World War II, like domestic U.S. ports.
Yes, and Lucky Luciano was the one that told them that they'd be able to do it because of their Italian heritage. They'd be trusted.
Interesting.
I mean, yeah, we're trustworthy folks.
So, Italy had a fascist in charge at the time, right?
But
my history here.
Yeah, but so their thing was that, we can help you catch the fascist spies because Italians trust other Italians.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
But he just used it so that he could just dip out to Cuba as soon as possible and then dip to Italy.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So we're in the essentially penultimate moments of the film. Dutch stumbles out of the bathroom, having been shot a couple times, pulls his gun to maybe retaliate, but ultimately collapses in a chair and expires over a table. Back at the Cotton Club, Sandman finishes his routine to thunderous applause, and Lila is watching him from a table. He walks over to tell her that he loves her. Luciano compliments Dixie on his movie role. And then Oni and Luciano have a conversation. Oni tells Luciano that he's not going to be the boss of anything next week. He's going back to jail for a parole violation. And this is also a good excuse for him to get out of the rackets in general. He offers Luciano some advice as far as the rackets basically being a dangerous game. And then he heads off. Bear and Dixie leave the Cotton Club together. As they walk, you see a movie poster of Dixie's film on the wall behind them, and Dixie asks Vera to come with him. Vera turns him down again, and only committing to maybe we'll see each other again, maybe we'll do this, maybe we'll do that, but she cries as they embrace before saying bye and leaving. Now, this was I had a couple of favorite scenes, but the way this movie ends, I think was my favorite because it went off the rails into surrealism with a speed that kind of took me by surprise, right? So at the Cotton Club, there is a complicated performance occurring on stage. They've got like set pieces and even I think fake rain, and there's a dance number including like luggage and stuff like that. And this bleeds into the rest of the scenes outside the Cotton Club.
Right, yeah.
Right, like everything kind of
to the point where like they're in the train depot and there's like people dancing the same number that they're
dance.
the same dance.
Right,
Yeah.
and
so cool.
And
Yeah.
I thought it was meant to be a crossover, so we don't know where, like, what's going on. Where are we? Are we in the club watching like dreams? Are we in reality of people reminiscing about the Cotton Club? Like,
And I do love
which
that
I liked.
Dixie's mom stops to give some dance pointers to the one girl who's
Yeah.
busking, which is
Yeah,
cool.
that's like the last scene of the movie, I think.
Not quite. So
yeah, because
Okay.
they do go out to the actual platform shortly thereafter.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
So the dance number is occurring on stage in the Cotton Club. Oni is going into the train station to give himself up for arrest. There is again in line with the surrealism of the ending of this film. He has a brief conversation with Frenchie about when they're bringing the latest Cotton Club performance to Sing Sing, where he's going to be,
which is very fucking funny.
It is incredibly funny. And so almost all of our principal actors are traveling through this train station, and we're getting, other like the background actors in these scenes are dancing in the same sort of performance that's occurring on stage with the Cotton Club, and we're cutting back and forth between all of them. Like I said, it's very interesting. Sandman and Lila run off together with people like throwing rice at them as they descend the steps into the train station, like they just got married. But the timing doesn't really work for that, but it's cool as sort of like a send-off epilogue. Like we're jamming a bunch of story elements here at the end. Dixie is being escorted through by his mom, who's seeing him off back to Hollywood, and she gives one of the kids tap dancing in the background, which seems like a bleed over from the stage, some tips on the act, which grounds it in the reality of the characters we're following at this point. And when Dixie gets to his train, Vera is waiting outside of it, and they embrace. She tells him Dutch is dead and she's finally free. So they get on the back of the train as it's like pulling off. They're on like the back car, and they're sharing a toast together, and there is a literal spotlight on them on the back of the train car. And we're cutting, like I said, back and forth from the stage performance to them pulling off, and then the credits roll from there. I found it fascinating. And my takeaway from it, as far as the inspiration, is like I had one phrase stuck in my head during it, and the more I thought about it, I was like, especially since this movie is pulling, in some cases, whole cloth from real historical figures, it was like the all life's a stage thing, right? So we are turning real life into entertainment, and an entertainment into real life at the conclusion of the film, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the crossover was well done. It was interesting, but didn't seem kitschy to me.
No, I very much enjoyed
this
it.
could have gone to camp real easily, and I think it walks that line very well.
Yeah, it really does. It balances it kind of perfectly. And after being really interested in the film, and again, under poor circumstances, I did not have a great day prior to watching this film and doing my research for it, and I got caught up almost immediately. So I was very invested, enjoyed the entirety of the film, and then when we got to the end and things got kooky, I was all about it. I was really into it. I thought it was a great ending to this film, which was a good flick, man. I mean, we don't always watch good ones, but this one was pretty fucking fantastic.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite ones. When we end up doing our tier list, it's going to be one of the top tiers.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
I think the
up there.
takeaway here is that Francis Ford Coppola kid, he could really make a movie. He's got a future ahead of him.
Hey, he's gonna go places. Yeah, no, like I said, I enjoyed it. Definitely, as far as quality filmmaking is concerned, it's going to hit near the top of our list. Just solid all the way around. And again, I tried to call out individual scenes where I thought the storytelling elements and the shot composition was particularly good, but it is rampant throughout this film.
Yeah,
I
agreed.
guarantee you our description and synopsis of it doesn't do it justice. If this sounds like it has shit that's up your alley, I recommend watching it. Even if you know what's going to happen, it's worth the time.
It's real good, baby.
Yeah, man. Smooth.
Yeah, it's
Classy.
kind of mind-boggling that this isn't spoken of in the same breath as The Godfather or Apocalypse Now. Like, this is, in my opinion, top tier Coppola.
Yeah, I am inclined to agree.
Yeah, like I said, I honestly, we talk a lot about 90-minute movies and how much we enjoy them, and very seldom do I say I wish a movie was longer. I wish this movie was longer.
I wish they put the cut parts from the director's cut into the director's cut. Like, I think those 13 minutes they cut out would have just been fine, just staying in there.
Yeah, probably.
Like, I could deal with another like 13 minutes on this. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I agree. A little bit more room to breathe wouldn't have hurt this. And again, we're pretty militant about our 90-minute movies. That is our preferred.
Because a lot of the time we're watching direct like 211. So
yeah.
This is true. Also, I was just reminded because I have information about the films up next to my notes, and I just realized that Diane Lane was the mom in Jack. That
Oh yeah.
yes, she was.
That was a Coppola.
What?
I'm
Jack
pretty
was
sure
a
that's
Coppola.
Yeah.
Jack's a Coppola.
It's one of the weirdest Coppolas.
Son of a! I did not fucking know that. I am now cursed with knowledge. Thank you.
You're
what
very welcome.
Yep, it's When the Moon Hits Your Eye Like a Big Pizza Pie. That's a Coppola.
That's a Coppola.
Oh shit! I forgot Bill Cosby was in that movie too.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. They can't all be winners.
Robin Williams farts into a can in that one.
Yes, he does. Rip to
he
a
does. God damn, good on him. Love some can farting.
Yep.
So I think we can officially put the Cotton Club to rest. What's next? What on earth is next?
So I did this work already, and it's one that I don't know if I'm excited for or dreading. We're gonna be watching Mom and Dad.
Okay. I don't know if I have a lot of context for this one.
I know what it's about, and I know the premise. It's a comedy horror. Doesn't seem good if you have childhood trauma, but we'll see if I can just get through this.
Oh, I got that up to here. Man.
Oh shit! This is directed and written by one of the dudes that did some of my favorite action movies, the Crank movies.
Oh no!
Oh yes!
Oh shit! He was also the writer and creator of Happy.
Well, the writer of the TV show Happy, because that's a Grant Morrison comic book.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Grant Morrison and Derek Robertson, I think, is the creative team behind the original Happy.
I love me some Chris Maloney. I'm not gonna lie.
Nah, he's doing the new Hellboy.
The Crooked Man one?
Yeah.
Oh fuck yeah. I'm excited for that because like they're finally adapting some Hellboy stories I actually like.
Oh, he did that fucking gamer movie that like was bad, but I kind of enjoy it.
No, that was a fun movie. That had some good action.
Butler and Michael C. Hall.
Yeah, I thought that had some fun action in it. He fucking wrote the screenplay for that Jonah Hex movie that I like quite a bit, even though it's dog shit. I think this is going to be a good time.
Hellboy again?
Yeah, it's a third Hellboy.
Yeah.
Wait, who's Hellboy now?
Jack Kesey.
Yeah, I don't know that man.
I thought you were going to say Jack Black, and I was going to be like, yeah, okay, let's do this. Oh, I know.
No, yo, he directed Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance. Shit. Okay.
Wait, who did?
The Brian Taylor.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Oh no, but this guy Jack Kesey is in this show that my partner watches called Claws, and he's not bad in it. So
okay,
shout out Claws.
Oh shit, he was in Deadpool too as well.
I forget his who. I don't remember that movie all that much.
He was Black Tom, the white guy with dreadlocks, who was called Black Tom.
Oh, it's good.
Anyway, all right. Well, look, I like the premise of this film, just the basic explanation of it, and
but guess what the runtime is?
We got a lean 90?
We got an 83.
Oh, baby.
Oh, it's going to be tight, and I'm not going to lie, this is ripe for unhinged Cage.
Yes, it is.
Okay, I'm watching the trailer. This looks fucking great.
I'm very excited. Very excited.
Yeah, again, I don't know if I'm dreading this or not. I'm just going to start it and power through it.
This is going to be fun. I'm calling it now. I'm calling my shot on this one. This is
Dr.
going to be
Oz is in it.
entertaining.
Oh shit! Does he get killed in a gruesome fashion? I'm hoping so.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That man rotted my aunt's brain and my mom's brain for a short time, but she got better.
Who?
Dr. Oz.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my mom was an Oz fanatic for a while until I was like, he had his medical license revoked and that he's a giant con man, right?
They're called Oz heads.
Yeah, and he lost to Fetterman, so suck it, Oz.
I do find it eminently hilarious that my mom she will not acknowledge that she used to be super into Dr. Oz. She's like, no, you're lying. I was never into that con man.
Well, so the crazy thing about him, if I remember correctly, he actually was a very, very good and talented surgeon.
Yeah, like a heart surgeon.
It was when he started doing everything else was when they pulled his shit.
Yeah.
Good.
When he started being a con man. Fuck that dude.
And he lost to a man that wears shorts and hoodies in
which I mean, which is like, look, Fetterman, fucking whatever. But the fact that he just shows up in cargo shorts and a hoodie, like that rules.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, from a fashion standpoint, or the fact that your clothes don't make your job, he is a personal hero of mine. Because every job I've ever had as like an adult with like a professional office job, my only goal in any of those scenarios is to get good enough at what I do that I can wear whatever I want, and people chalk it up to eccentric but efficient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, good on him.
I can't wait till he physically threatens Ted Cruz. It's going to happen at some point.
Oh, he's going to grab him by his lapels and shake him until coins come out.
Ooh, okay. So I know we've done serial mascot Royal Rumble, but I would take Fetterman deep into the finals in a federal congressional Royal Rumble.
Absolutely.
He's
one of the biggest men.
List of U.S. senators, because
by fucking weight class. See if somebody's already done the work for us.
There's no weight class, but I'm just judging.
Now I kind of want to. I want to buy a website and rank.
Wait. So, like, are we just talking physicality, or like, can cunning play?
Cunning can play.
Cunning can play,
but
because I think Kristen Cinema might get far by just creating these false alliances and then immediately breaking them.
Sure,
but then wearing like a necklace that says "fuck," so like all the teenagers think she's cool.
Sure, but I still have Fetterman choke slamming her through the top of a cage in the finals.
I don't know if I'm pretty far down. I don't know if I see anybody who can really take Fetterman. Like half these people are over 70.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dianne Feinstein is still fucking alive.
Dude,
she hasn't died yet.
I'm pretty sure they're weekend at
heart
Bernie.
Attack. Yes, they
Feinstein.
Yeah.
Amy Klobuchar might
call,
be a
they
problem.
just have this string.
Amy Klobuchar might be a problem. She might have numerous.
She seems like a biter.
She'd fight dirty.
She'd have numerous forks for stabbing. You know? Oh, I didn't realize how punchable Josh Hawley's face is.
Oh yeah.
Like I knew that he's like awful, but I didn't realize how just absolutely punchable he is.
He's got such a magnetic face for fists.
Even his like shitty when he tries to do like the photo op stuff, he looks like the biggest fucking nerd. It's amazing.
JD Vance looks like somebody who will get far, but by beating up the old people. And the minute he has to come across like somebody under 50, he's just going to cry in a corner.
Well, Jim Jordan was a wrestler, right? Maybe he has some ground game.
I don't think he was that good, though.
Well, yeah, no, definitely not. But still.
I think that Fetterman probably just sweeps this. I don't see.
Right?
Yeah.
Slaughters. There's no competition.
Like, okay, if like
why does Fetterman, the largest of the senators, not simply eat the smaller senators?
Like the only ones who can like really maybe and they're gonna have to form some sort of crew between like Ted Cruz, Tim Scott,
I mean, they're gonna like get on each other's back like a very weak Voltron.
JD Vance.
Vance might have some scrap in him.
I don't think so. I think that he's going to pick on the weaker ones, and the minute somebody like stands up to him, he's going to cry in a corner.
Oh yeah, no. Fetterman would still just mash him, but
no, I think that Fetterman wins, and it's not. Oh my god, this dude from Alabama, Tommy Tuberville, his picture, like everybody's picture, is kind of like very official, like in front of American flag. His is that, but he's holding a football.
Yeah, no. Tuberville only won on the strength of college football, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, he's a retired football coach.
Correct.
Oh, from Auburn. Yeah, of course.
Correct. The bad college football team from Alabama. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, bad. They're only ranked like 5 overall every
them.
season.
Crimson Tide, man.
Dude has a name like he's a heel wrestler that's just like a bumbling idiot in the ring.
Yes, he is a lower mid card talent who loses to Eugene.
Yeah, sorry, I gotta fly the family colors here. My dad's alma mater was Alabama University, so that is. I'm not a sports guy. The only sports I ever follow is Alabama college football, and that is it. So
the only one who's young enough is like this dude Thomas Azoff or whatever. I got no fucking idea how to pronounce this name, but he looks like just the biggest nerd.
I do love on a whim we did go through and agree that Fetterman would dominate in any group physical competition.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, he can literally have a stroke yesterday and still beat up 98%.
Hey, it just occurred to me. Did we shout out that one dude who does a Cab Calloway in Cotton Club? Because he did a pretty good Cab Calloway.
Oh, you're right. He did.
I think we might have skipped over that man doing a Minnie the Moocher because I wanted to mention that is the second best Minnie the Moocher in cinema history, right after Blues Brothers.
Sorry, I'm still looking over these senators to see if like any of them have a chance.
My goal every episode, it's not even about the listener at this point. I'm just trying to get Rich stuck in the weirdest rabbit hole he's ever been in.
It's really easy. This is how my autism works.
I'm sure as soon as we're done recording, he's going to go right back to egggame.org.
No, that's going to be tomorrow. Tonight, I am going to actually look up past senators as well.
Oh,
to see if anybody.
Wait, was Lincoln a senator? Because I know
Lincoln was a senator. Lincoln probably win.
Dude, Lincoln would fucking win. He was a bare knuckle fucking boxer and wrestler.
I about to say he was a pro wrestler back when pro wrestlers were like
a scrapper.
He was a scrapper. He was tall as shit. That man can rumble.
Roosevelt, I'm sure, was actually
absolutely
a pussy. No, I'm sure he was absolutely an actual pussy.
No, I think he might have like a fucking like a belt or something. I think Roosevelt actually rumbled too.
I'm sorry, was Jackson ever in the Senate?
I don't know, but
if he was, you can't count him out. He was a fucking psycho.
Yeah, because he'll just set everybody on fire.
He
went okay, he was in Congress.
Wait, Jackson?
He was a senator from Tennessee for, believe it or not, 1 term.
Yeah, they tried to invent the presidential assassination on him, and he beat the assassin almost to death. The organization that became the Secret Service had to save his would-be assassin from him because Jackson was going to beat the man to death.
Oh, he was just hanging out with Aaron Burr at one point.
Yeah. Yep.
Huh.
All right.
Yeah, no, Roosevelt had a prestigious career as a boxer in his college years. I think he can rumble.
Yeah, but I don't know if he can beat Lincoln or I don't know if any of them can beat Jackson.
Nobody's beating fucking Lincoln or Jackson.
Wait, how tall was Jackson? I gotta find out.
He's not as tall as Lincoln. I think Lincoln still.
I was about to say he probably doesn't have the reach.
Yeah, he doesn't have the reach. Lincoln was a tall man made of muscle.
I'm gonna say this before we get any further. I don't want to ruin a potential Patreon episode where we just scream at each other about this topic, because I know all of us for the next the next week or two, when we're bored at work, we're just gonna be looking up like past U.S. senators and just being
Fucking
like,
Lincoln was
this motherfucker's a contender.
Lincoln was 6'4" pure muscle.
I don't see a height on Andrew Jackson, which tells me he was probably under like 5'8". I feel like he's got some Shapiro in him.
I got a 6'1" on him.
Oh,
6'1",
really?
yeah, that's respectable. That
Yeah,
makes
but
as tall as me.
that's no 6'5". Like,
No. He's not taking Lincoln in a fight. I don't.
I mean,
is Jackson allowed to bring his parrot to the fight?
no.
If we're doing wrestling rules and you have a gimmick and you have a parrot that curses, that parrot's coming to the ring with you.
Yeah.
No. He is not Coco Beware.
Okay. All right. I'm calling it.
I think we went 15 minutes over just talking about the fucking U.S. government final fight.
We have.
Well, I mean, how far away are we from that? Actually, 6 years, 8 years, 1 year?
What, from governance just being conducted via Royal Rumble?
Yeah, when was Idiocracy set? Because wasn't Dwayne Alonzo Herbert Camacho Mountain Dew Jr. a fucking wrestler?
Yes.
Look, we can continue this conversation, of course, but we got to put it behind a paywall because this is the kind of stupidity that you got to pay money for. We have our marching orders. We covered the Cotton Club. Great film. I'm excited for Mom and Dad. And while you're waiting for all of that, follow us on social media. You can find us on Twitter at cagefight_pod. Rich, hit them with that Patreon.
You can find us at patreon.com/NickCageFight, where every episode is ad-free for $3 a month. And I am totally not trying to find the year that Idiocracy was set in.
I think it's set in like the year 3000 or some shit.
Damn it.
God,
all right, well, whatever. Sign off.
Overly generous with that assumption. I give us 5 years.
Yeah.
However, Josh brought up something
it's
good
the year
that we can do.
2505.
Okay. Josh brought up something fun that we can do, which is a tier ranking of all the movies that we've watched, and I think maybe we'll knock that out in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, that sounds right.
For some sweet Patreon content.
Yeah, we are officially past being able to do a ranking episode. It would be chaos and nonsense.
Yeah, it's just going to be a 3-hour long, like, we can't rank them. The only thing that I would actually rank, if we're doing 5 tiers, like Between Worlds is the tippy top of rank 3 because it's got to be my barrier of entry.
You got an A through F and then an S rank on the top.
Okay, then
we're gonna use a tier website, and I'm gonna get everybody on the podcast a bottle of their favorite hard liquor, and we are going to community place all of these movies. We have to come to consensus on their position, and the further we get into it, the drunker we will be, and the more we will be screaming.
If we're in the same room, there's going to be a fist fight when we get to Firebirds.
There probably will be.
Yeah, we might have to do it that way, just for fun. But the fist fight isn't going to conclude because we're just going to devolve into a verbal fight about who would win in the Senate Royal Rumble. Because if Roosevelt would use this move. Anyway, thank you, as always, listeners, for tuning in for this fucking nonsense. Sometimes including, a discourse about cinema, specifically centered around Nick Cage. But as always, we appreciate you.
Bye-bye.